Kuhn, and I'm head of business development for Fixle. Some of you know me. I've spent lots of years in the home inspection space, and I'm here today with Fixle's co-founder and chief success officer, Amanda Scholes. And together we're going to give you an overview of Fixle. I'm going to start out just doing a quick kind of intro, and for some of you it may be a review. Highlight a few things, and then Amanda's going to show a demo. Then we're going to go into a little bit of the kind of nitty gritty and specifics of a few things, and of course have ample time for open questions. So we have some users that have been using Fixle and have some questions. We have some people that haven't used Fixle, hasn't downloaded it. So hopefully and I'm confident we'll be able to accommodate everybody. So with that said, I'm going to share my screen. Fixle is really all about creating a better inspection experience by adding and distributing critical additional data that can actually live on and be of value to the consumer long term. So you do that by scanning a data plate of an appliance, which then will auto-populate essential system information. I'll talk a little bit more about that. And this is designed to expand the information that you already provide to the consumer. So instead of just the particulars of the system, such as model, make, a year, it also now will supplement your information with owner's manuals, manufacturer specification, energy guides, dimensions, all that information to help that homeowner use as they learn how to operate the new systems in their home and then manage those new systems in the home. In addition, of course, we also identify recalls. So it's a great tool to help keep families safe, not only with the recall status of the appliance at the time of the inspection, but it does provide ongoing recall monitoring. And then this information is given to the consumer in an easy-to-use free app, in addition to a home appliance report, all branded to you, the inspector. So a little bit about Fixle, kind of four key areas that are our strengths, if you will. Number one is our database. So we've got the largest database of major appliances in the industry. So we're able to put that information, that useful information, in your homeowner's fingertips. And if for some reason our database, or we don't find that appliance in our database, we will go get it, so that the consumer is always going to have the information they need. And what is that information that they need, that critical information? So this is really where we, bring in that value. So we're going to be able to identify the appliance specifications, owner manuals, recall alerts, installation documentation, dimensions, energy efficiency guides, coming soon, end of life expectancy, all to help save the consumer or grow awareness and how to use these systems, but also to help them manage and save them time and really aggravation as they begin to enjoy and use those systems in their home. Now, we do that through advanced technology, I should say, the OCR technology, which allows the inspector to scan the data plate of the appliance and extract the model number and serial number of the appliance. So it's an easy capture process. And then your report becomes really a living digital resources branded to your company with practical information. Again, the consumers can use on an ongoing basis. So a great way to help you generate rave reviews and grow referrals. So the number one question I get about Fixle, because we do provide the recall, is what's the difference between Fixle and recall check? And it's a great question. First of all, I like to call it input choice. So yes, we talk about the OCR technology. That is the easiest and fastest way to get the information into the app. However, if for some reason you're in a low light situation, you can also take a picture of or if this is just your workflow, take a picture of the data plate of the appliance and import it, or you can manually enter the information. Again, if you can't get a good picture, you can't get a good scan, or you've grown accustomed to manually entering that information like you do with recall checks. So there's a lot of flexibility to help the workflow with Fixle be consistent with your current workflow. Another big difference is the recall information is instant. So instead of sending the information off and then, in some given time period, the information, the status of any recalls is going to come back, you're going to find out whether there's a recall on that appliance instantly, which is really important when you think about that the service you provide is time sensitive, because it's generally, revolves around a real estate transaction. Another big differentiator, very much appreciated in the inspection industry, is that we don't sell the client data. We don't share the client data. Your client's data is completely confidential. It is never shared. Also, in addition to recalls, and this is, of course, the big value, or another big value, is we don't just find recalls. We also then give the consumer that information, manuals, specifications, dimensions, all that information that is truly valuable to them as they learn to operate those systems in the home and as they become responsible for managing those homes. In addition, the consumer gets an app. So the consumer can download the Fixle app. You've already put the information into it. It's branded to you. It's free for them to use. So at any given time, they need to make a service call on an appliance. They need to find a part for an appliance. That information branded to you is at their fingertips. In addition to the app, the consumer would also get a detailed appliance report. So it captures all the information about the appliance that you've captured, and then adds to that those live links with those documents, again, to manuals, specifications, etc., in an HTML report that they get via email, and they can download as a PDF if they want to keep it in that format. So a couple common questions that I get, and can I try Fixle before paying for it? Absolutely. Every Fixle subscription comes with 30 days free. We certainly want you to play around with it, understand it. Unlimited properties, unlimited appliances, no obligation. Can I use Fixle on some homes I inspect, but not every home? Absolutely. The way Fixle, and again, we never share data. We don't sell data. We monetize Fixle by charging the inspector, who then passes that expense or adds value and upcharges the consumer. But there are no monthly fees. So there's no subscription fees. You pay as you go. It starts at $9.95 per report. It goes down with volume, but you're in complete control with how much you use Fixle. So again, no monthly fee. Do I have to retype the inspection details to start using Fixle on my inspection? That kind of goes hand in hand with the question is, are you integrated with Spectoria? Are you integrated with HomeGauge? Are you integrated? We are not yet integrated. Those integrations are in process, but it's still really easy to use Fixle, because when you get to an inspection, you open up the Fixle app, you choose use my current location, and then Fixle actually extracts the address of the property, populates that into the app, as well as a picture of the property, and you're good to go. Does Fixle find appliance manufacturer dates? It does. I always like to say it's about 50% of the time, and it does it two ways. Number one, it either extracts it from the data plate, or it then decodes the manufacturer's code from the data plate. That database is growing every day, and that information is editable. So what that means is sometimes multiple dates will pop up when the appliance data plate is scanned, and you can then edit it, or if there is no manufacturer date, the inspector can edit that as well. So you can always have that information available. Another question we get, can I preview the home report before I send it? Currently, the current functionality, this is a coming soon feature. Currently, what inspectors do is they share the report with themselves, a different email other than the one that they're signed up for their Fixle account with, and then they can review the report, make any changes, and then share it with their share it with their customer once they've made those edits. Amanda's gonna do a demo, and because there's a couple, just so we want to really walk through. Some of you have been very interested in Fixle. You've downloaded Fixle. We had a very big upgrade a few weeks ago, and there's been some confusion about creating an account. Do I have to create a new account and setting up a professional profile? So we're going to go through all those screens. All these screens actually that you're looking at right now, so that we reduce that confusion and answer any questions. Before we jump to that, this is kind of one of the coming soon features. So we're getting ready to launch something called Fixle Folio, which is really everything Fixle does in the app that can be done on a desktop. So for example, my last point was about reviewing the report. Before sharing a report with the consumer, you could come back to your Fixle Folio, you could search the properties that you've added, you could look at all the items that have been added, you can resend a report, you can edit the report, and you can send it from this database. So this is really a great tool. Again, if you want to review your reports to see what appliances you've collected, to really look at everything you've done with Fixle on this dashboard, certainly very meaningful, particularly for multi-inspector firms. We also have a number of marketing resources to help you promote Fixle, and there's probably never been a better time to, get out into your marketplace and talk about a new value add that you're offering that separates you from your competition. We have realtor postcards, or handouts, if you will. We have client postcards, so that when you're on an inspection, you can give this to the client if they're along with you on that inspection, kind of help the client understand a little bit better what you're doing and the value that they're going to get as part of you using Fixle. We also have an agent office PowerPoint. So whether you're doing a Zoom meeting, a one-on-one, we've got a full, quick but meaningful overview of Fixle for real estate agents, including a script. And coming soon, we have an ISN template, so you can announce that you're offering Fixle, Spectora template, as well as a social post. So all those tools. And if there's anything else that you feel that you need, let us know, because we certainly understand that promoting the fact that you're now adding Fixle as an advantage to your business is something you do want to get the message out on. All right, well, I've covered a lot of information right there. Before I introduce Amanda, are there any quick questions that I can address?
Yeah, and I want to invite anybody to either type a question into the chat, raise their hand, and we can pause and call on you. You're welcome to unmute. This is an informal and hopefully fun opportunity to chat together. So feel free to unmute and ask a question. Wave your hands in the air, jump up and down, whatever it takes to get our attention. So Deborah, you're asking, what is the typical markup on the report? And go ahead, Kathleen, if you want to.
Yeah, I think that's a great question. I mean, most inspectors right now are looking at, it's saying that there's a minimum of a $25 value. I mean, that's generally what they're talking about. Mm-hmm. Some are going higher. But certainly being able to provide this additional report, this additional information has a strong value. Consumers appreciate it. So I would say at minimum, you're looking at a $25 increase. Again, others are discussing going much higher than that.
Mm-hmm. When we've done some market research, depending on region and type of house we're talking about, we got some feedback that $100 seemed reasonable for folks, but really that $45 mark kind of was a sweet spot. So we feel like 25 is a no-brainer. 45, you might get some pushback, but you can always discount it, do half off, and bring it in at a kind of a fair price for everybody. Awesome. Any other questions? I'm gonna jump into a video where I recorded the app just last night of creating an account and showing how that works. And if you all want to, if you have a chance, you can take a minute to open your Fixle app. Hopefully you have the latest version downloaded and check and see. You can either follow along with me if you haven't already gone through this flow. If you have questions, we're here for you. So feel free to to pause us and we'll stop and address them. Okay, so like Kathleen mentioned in her PowerPoint, the create account is really the first step here. So this is for folks who had created an account prior to August 22nd, around then, and want to have access to the properties that they had created or the items that they had scanned. All right, so if you're new to the Fixle app, you would go through this flow and create an account. But it's really important for the folks who had already created an account to use the same email as we go through this if you want to access the properties that you had seen. So even though you may have an account with Fixle in the 2.0 release, you need to click create an account, and this is what will happen. As inspectors, as inspectors, you're going to want to push professional, fill in the information here for your name, your professional email. This is the email that you would have used before. We can also help you manage emails in the back end. If you want to move emails around or anything like that, you can reach out to us at support@fixle.com. Now this user ID will be one that you want to remember because it will be what I'm just going to back up a second. It will be what you're going to use as you enter Fixle in the future. So I just used Amanda FH for Fixle Home. So I remember that my Fixle Home email and my Fixle Home ID are together. Create a password. You can use the same password if you want to, as before. And then you're going to go through a double verification. The reason we do this is account security is very important to us. So we have a double verification. So you'll go into your email, find the verification code. I also want to let folks know that this will often be found in spam or junk. So look at all your folders because it may not be in your inbox right away. Now you can enter all of your company details, or you may just be in a hurry to get the account set up. So you can simply enter the name and the phone number and come back and do the rest of your company information later. We're going to show you how to set up the logo in a little bit. So I just jumped past this. And this is my second verification with the SMS. So I typed in my phone number. I'm going to jump over to my phone, text messages, and then everything goes forward. Okay. Now I went through this really fast. Just want a quick pause for any questions so far on that account setup.
I guess I'll talk
Yeah.
instead of type.
Jump on in.
So with the phone number, if I have an inspector and they need to get the text, they would put in their mobile number, but I wouldn't necessarily want their mobile number showing up customer facing. So is this just for using the app, or does that show up somewhere on the report?
That can be your choice. So that what I just did is just for verifying that you are who you are, so that we don't have any hacker or computer bots trying to crash our system. So that's just for verification. For the company details, which I kind of jumped forward, but I'll show you those in a minute. If you put the phone number in there, that will show up on the report.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
Yeah.
So one of the questions, so is that phone number, and that's actually a question I have, is that phone number that we use for the SMS verification used as a public number on the report? I thought the company number was.
Yeah, that's what we just talked about. So
okay, I was confused.
In company details, you can put the company number.
Okay.
But the device number will be needed to use for the verification.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Brian, you're asking if there's a Fixle app update. Yes, we're constantly, I mean, in the last month, we've pushed 3 major releases and 5 minor releases. So we're constantly churning new enhancements and changes. We can put into the chat just real quick where you can get your, actually, I think I might be able to do it just in a second.
And Amanda, what's the version that we've got a new release coming actually in a couple days. So it's kind of always.
Yeah, and it's important that depending on the device that you use, a lot of us have a setting on our device that automatically updates apps. Some of us like to decide when we're going to update an app. So depending on how you use your phone and or your tablet, make sure that when you're going into Fixle, if you aren't already auto set to update, that you're pushing the updates. Because like we said, at least every 2 weeks, we have a decent size update. We often have little fixes going on in between those 2 weeks. And I just put a link in to chat. What that should do, if you open that on your phone, that should take you to the right store. So that should take you to Apple if you're an Apple user. It should take you to Google Play if you're an Android user. Let me know if that doesn't work and I can get the Apple and the Google direct links. So if any other questions before we keep moving? Well, we'll keep moving and, you know, keep them coming. So I didn't spend a lot of time when I was recording this last night, and I kind of thought about it later. So we can go back and ask or address this, but you'll see a number of different plans here, right? So as we go through and we've successfully done the phone, we've got Fixle Pro Repair, Fixle Property Pro, and Fixle Pro Inspect. And those are different plans for different groups of people who are interested in helping to decentralize this interior home information so that homeowners can, you know, access this information and solve problems faster, right? So as inspectors, we've designed the Fixle Pro Inspect plan so that you can use it continuously. You can share reports with your clients. It gives you the ability to do the PDF like we talked about, or the HTML link, and obviously share the Fixle app with clients. So for this, you would click Fixle Pro Inspect. You'd enter your credit card details, which I wasn't going to share with you. Not that I don't trust y'all, but this is going to be on YouTube eventually. So, and once that's live, you would complete your subscription. So that's the workflow to get through to signing up, right? Now I'm able to see the homes that were in my account prior to this update. I have, I think, around 10 or 12 homes in here, properties in here. Different ones have, you know, 1 or 2 appliances. I'm going into one with 9 appliances. And then you can see them all in here. If I go into the item tab for this fridge, and I should have clicked on one of those links, it would have popped into the user manual or the specifications, whatever link that I chose. So I'm gonna take a breath, take a minute to see if anybody has questions on the rest of that sign-in flow. I guess maybe also a show of hands. How many of you have downloaded the app in the last month? Or fairly recently? Nobody. So everyone's on the long term, which is great. Or everyone's looking for, where do I push the reaction for my hand up? So any questions on sign in and creating an account? And you're welcome to ask questions at the end too. I want to show you next the company logo piece, because this is really lovely when you can share the report and have the report with your company logo. Obviously, like we talked about, it also has the company details, contact information. And again, if you're sharing the app with your clients, if the clients choose to use the app, they're going to see your company and remember that you're the one that did all this hard work to capture this information. So adding the company logo is very straightforward. It's in settings. So you go over to the hamburger menu, click settings. And like we mentioned, this is where you can add more company details. I'll go into that in just a second. And you can also add that company logo under branding there. All right, so we're going to click into that. I'm going to go to my library, which I already had this great picture from our last trade show with these cool dice that Kathleen found for us. And that logo was added. So what does that mean? That means now you'll be able to see that logo on the reports that you send. These are the company, this is the company information and phone number. It went really fast, I'll just back that up a second. So if you wanted to change this out to a company phone number, Deb, versus the device phone number, you would modify that here. It auto-populates just to save some folks time. Okay, so now that that's set up, we're gonna do one more time. Okay, so now we're gonna get to sharing a home. And I think a lot of you, if you've used the app, you've probably experimented a little bit with this, but use the 3 dots in the top, enter, that's from within the home, enter the name of the client, disregard the notification that comes through, enter the email address. So again, this is not my email address that I am logging in with this account, right? We logged in with Amanda at Fixle Home. This is a separate email address. So I can go to that email and see the report come through. So there's that picture we added. There's the address of the account that or the property that we just found. And that's basically the extent of it. If I would have taken a little more time, I could have clicked on one of the links in those in the item detail page to show you the user manual or the specifications or any of those other live links. So again, those links will be live. The client has the option to download the Fixle app and use it on their phone and access this information. The other thing that they can do is if they decide to move in and they want to get a new fridge, they can add the new fridge and have continuous recalls and access to all of their information. And I don't know if we talked about this. This might be something we bring up in the Q&A, but with this report, homeowners get 12 months free of Fixle. So they can add as many items as they want. They won't have to change their plan until that 12 months is up. And then if they have under 8 items, it'll be free forever, or they can pay a little bit a month to maintain more than 8 items or add another home.
Yeah, I think that's a great point. So Fixle is free on a very limited basis for consumers. Through an inspector, it's free without those limitations for the first year. And then if they want to add multiple properties or have more than 8 items, they would be charging $4.99 a month. So you are providing a meaningful value. And maybe, Deb, that's probably a good price point. You know, at $5.99 a month, or is it $4.99 a month? That's really a $60 value. So that you're providing to the inspector. Maybe that's the price point that you use in terms of an upcharge. That's certainly something to consider.
All right, I'll go again.
There you go.
So I know this is part of the setup process that you would put in a credit card. Will there be an option in the future to have a kind of a corporate billing option?
Yes.
Instead of the credit card?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah, that's a good question. And we can, if you want to get multiple inspectors up, we can help you with that setup in our current format. So we've done that with multi-inspector firms before, where we can, take that credit card, like a company credit card, and work with the inspector to get them signed up so that it's all being billed to one particular credit card.
Yeah.
Okay, perfect.
Awesome. Any other questions around sharing a home or really anything about using the app?
I'm just going to throw one of the things that we've had some challenges with is very often an inspector or somebody will come in, they'll set up a personal account, and then trying to switch to a professional profile has been a little bit bumpy. So if you're having any of those issues, reach out to us. We can do a one-on-one. Actually, our next release solves that quite well. It's actually works now, but it can be somewhat confusing. So I always recommend, set up a professional account. You've got 30 days free anyway. Use that, put your own home in that, see how all the functionality of the professional account works. You can always add a personal account later. That kind of reduces the confusion. And again, with Fixle, there's no subscription fees. So you sign up for the account, you put in your credit card. If you don't add homes to it after that 30-day period, there's no charge. You're going to want to, because it's a very powerful offering, but you're in complete control.
Kathleen, did you want to speak more to Fixle Folio and kind of more of what's coming in the future?
Yeah, sure. It's I think Fixle Folio is going to be a very nice enhancement, especially if you have multiple inspectors. We do find it's very interesting that inspectors like using the app. They definitely have a desire to have all the information that they've created in the app and that's available in the app, able to be viewed in the desktop. So we can certainly appreciate that. Or if they have to resend a report because the customer didn't get it for some reason, again, you can do that easily from the app. But Fixle Folio, can do that while they're doing all their other day-to-day business operations on the desktop. And also, it's just some kind of nice intel. You start to see what kind of items are in the homes you inspect. I always vision a social post or some other content going out, because now you've done so many homes in your area, and you now know that, listen, interestingly enough, there's this particular kind of a system. It's frequently recalled. It's very interesting data, I think, that'll be useful for marketing purposes and just overall to understand, more about the houses in your market.
Awesome. Well, Kathleen, anything else to add?
Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for attending. Appreciate the interest. Let us be a partner of yours. As you walk away from this webinar, if you think of something, I wish I asked that, again, shoot Amanda at fixlehome.com or Kathleen at fixlehome.com, or both of us. The question, we are very user focused and really want to hear from you. So, and thank you so much for attending. Appreciate it.
Yes. Everybody, I hope you have a great day. Thanks so much.